morning. My name is Aswathi. I belong to the 2013 batch of Indian Administrative Service and I belong to Karnataka cadre, and currently I am posted as Deputy Commissioner, Mandya District, Karnataka. So I'll just explain to you how a day of mine looks like. Generally, I wake up around 5:36. I'm an early riser. I like waking up early. So I wake up sometimes around 5:30 or around 6 o'clock. I'm someone who likes to do a lot of meditation, and sometimes I like doing yoga. So early mornings are generally reserved for either going for a walk in the garden, or I do yoga for around half an hour, or sometimes I do meditation for around half an hour. And I like reading. I'm into reading books. I really enjoy reading books. So after my yoga and meditation, generally I read till say around 8:30. After 8:30, then I start getting calls and the work business starts. So normal working days, when I say normal working day, I'm referring to a time which is not election or when there is no natural calamity. So during elections and during natural calamity, of course, we work 24/7. There are no specific timings. So other days when there are no elections or no natural calamities, my office time starts at 10 o'clock. So sometimes I come to office by 9:30, or sometimes I come around 10 o'clock. And again, office days are divided into various categories. Around 3 to 4 days in a week, I take court in the afternoon session from 3 to 5. So during the other days, it can either be field visits only, or I sit in office and I have series of meetings. So for example, I have meeting from morning 10 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock. There will be series of meetings. And a lot of people would come to meet me. A lot of public would have come. So in between the meetings, I try to attend to the public who has come to meet me. So other than that, we have a lot of video conferences which are taken by a respective maybe principal secretary or a respective minister of some department. So either there are so a day during which I'm in office. If I'm in office, it means either I'm attending VCs chaired by my senior officers, or I'll be taking video conferences for my subordinate officers who are assistant commissioners, tehsildars, or other line department officers, or I'll be in series of meetings, and in between I'll be attending to the public who has come to the office, and also in between that I have to attend to all the files which are put up to me. So this is how a day looks like if I'm in office. Otherwise, I might choose to go to the field. So field inspection means either I go and inspect a school, or maybe an Anganwadi or a primary health center. So sometimes there are certain works which are being taken up by, say, urban department, the municipal council or the TM Purasabha or Nagarasabha. They are constructing, say, a solid waste management plant, or maybe some roads and drainages. They're developing a park. So I choose to go and visit some of them, or some of the other related field visits. So some days are devoted for field visits and some days are devoted for office work, and some days it can be a mixture of both. So personally I prefer to do a lot of field visits, because I believe that whenever you go to the field, it gives you a lot of clarity. It gives you first-hand information about a problem which is there in the field, and when you get to know, and when you interact with people, when you interact with public, when you speak to them, rather than reading a file, you get a much more better picture of the problem or of the situation. So personally, I prefer to do more of field visits. So I try to maintain that in a week, at least say out of 6 working days, at least 3 days I try to be in field. And after that, by evening, say around 7 o'clock, I reach back home, 7:38. As I said, this is not during election or natural calamity. During other normal days, maybe by 7:38, I try to reach home. After that, I just be with I have a son who is 2.5 years, 2 years, 4 months old. So night time, I try my best to be with my baby. And after that, of course, there will be a lot of phone calls which are happening. And nowadays, there are lots of professional WhatsApp groups. Like for each scheme and for each purpose, we have different WhatsApp groups. So there, I'll be following up the progress of some work or of some instructions that I've given over the phone call or over the WhatsApp or some other app. And meanwhile, I'll keep getting a lot of calls. So I'll handle both. I try not to take any files home. That's a personal decision of mine. Even if there is extra work, I try to finish it off in office. I prefer to sit in office, clear the file and go back home late rather than carrying the files home. Of course, it's not possible all the time, but at least I try to maintain it. And I try to go to sleep by around 10:30, 11. I generally prefer to sleep early and wake up early. And with regard to elections and natural calamity, as I've already told you, there are no timings. Of course, you will be in field 24/7. For example, 2 months back, we did the South Graduate constituency election and we were all deputed for counting. So the counting went for around 2 days continuously. So from say one day early morning 6 o'clock till the next day, we were continuously in the counting hall, not even going out for eating or bathing or whatever, bathing or whatever. So during such times, of course, we have to work 24/7. Otherwise, the timetable is slightly flexible. Second Saturdays and fourth Saturdays are government holidays, and Sundays, of course. But what happens is, with regard to the working style of an IAS officer, mostly even if it's a government holiday, even if it's a Saturday or Sunday, sometimes we might have work. There might be protocol work, there might be visit from a dignitary or some senior officer, there might be a meeting call. So it's not compulsory that all government holidays we are free, but at least on the days where we do not have any particular government work, I personally try not to attend private functions on these days, because as I've mentioned, I have a baby who is just 2.5 years. So at least on these days, I try to be with the baby, and my husband, Mr. Bagadi Gautam, he is working as Deputy Commissioner in the neighboring district, in the district of Mysore. So during weekends, if he doesn't have any other government work, he tries to come over. So at least during the weekends, I generally try to be with my family. I try not to give any other appointments. If it's government work, of course, I cannot say no, I have to attend because it is my duty. But if it's a private function or any other private invite, I generally prefer to stay with my family rather than attending any other private function. So I just stay at home. We have a pet, so we stay at home, spending time with family members and my pet, or reading and writing or something. So professionally, whatever your post is or whatever your rank is, I believe that it is extremely important to have a happy and a healthy personal life. So when I talk about personal life, it includes, say, your dietary habits, what you eat, how you eat, at what time you eat, and also your workout habits. Maybe you like to do yoga, maybe you like to do a normal, go out for a run, or some people prefer going to the gym. And also the personal relationships that you have with your spouse, your family members, and the friends you have, the social life you have. And it's also very important to cultivate hobbies which keep you occupied. Now what happens is, unless you do not have a healthy personal life, it starts reflecting very poorly in your professional life also. And as you know, this professional life, the life of an IAS officer, you will have to deal with a lot of situations. Some days can go really bad and you will have to deal with a lot of stress. So when you have a healthy and a happy personal life, and when you have a good personal habit, what happens is it helps you a lot in balancing the stress, in managing the stress also. It helps you a lot in managing these kind of situations also. So it is very important that you take care of your personal life along with your professional life, because unless you balance it, I don't think it would be you will be successful in your life unless you learn to balance it. Now, of course, I know it's not possible to balance it every day. It's not that every day you should give 50% here and 50% there, because as I already told you, there will be certain days where your professional side expects, say, 80% or 100%. It can be an election scenario, it can be a natural disaster scenario. So there are days where you have to give 100%, where you have to give maximum to your professional post, the demands of your professional field. But end of the day, eventually you will have to ensure that both are balanced. So as I told, generally I ensure that every day I do yoga, or I spend time for meditation. I like reading. Now I do this because these are the things which gives me peace of mind. With regard to another officer or another personality, maybe it's going out and playing basketball, or maybe playing cricket gives you happiness. So whatever gives you happiness, you should always see that you should cultivate some hobby of yours, and you should always see that some time is kept for your personal life. So I always ensure that along with my professional life, my personal life is also balanced. Of course, sometimes it's difficult because, for example, during COVID second wave, I was also tested positive. And I had to be in isolation for almost 7 to 10 days. And at that point of time, my son was not even 1 year old. He was too young, and my husband was also in another district. So the baby was alone with my parents. So it was very difficult to see him away from me, to keep him away from me. But at that point of time, I did not have an option. So some days are tough, but we have to manage. And end of the day, you have to see that your personal life is balanced. So whatever gives you happiness, whatever is, it can be having a pet at home, it can be going for trekking, whatever it is, you have to see that there is some, there should be something which you look forward to do at the end of the day. There should be some factor which makes you want to wait for the next day. There should be some personal aspect also which you should nourish along with your professional life. So generally, many of the aspirants, rather than understanding about the job profile of an IAS officer, sometimes they focus on the perks and allowances of an IAS officer. Like for an outsider, they might talk about the bungalow or the residence of a IAS officer, or the staff that we have, or the car facility, or the transport facility, or such kind of allowances that an officer gets. But as I've already mentioned, unless you are passionate about a job, unless you are really interested in serving the society, unless you have that viewpoint, there is no point in joining the services. Because what happens is, even if one is staying in a very exotic location, even if your residence, official residence is located in a very exotic location, firstly, you will be there only for like 1 year or 2 years. And also, it's not that most of the time you will be spending in the field or in your office work, attending to the public and other, greater situations which the district demands. So rather than focusing on just the salary or some perks or some allowance that an officer is getting, the concentration or your final goal or what you aspire for should be, at the end of the day, the common good that you can do for the people. So this is how my day looks like from morning till night, and this is the work that an IAS officer deals with at maybe during the initial 10 years, the job profile of an IAS officer. And these are the work that generally we deal most of the days. I hope that I've been able to inspire you in some way, and I hope that you learn something from me, and I'm also looking forward to learning something from you also, from your feedback. So all the best to all of you for your preparations. Thank you.